Hello, I'm Helen Van Wyk and welcome to my studio. But today we're going to go outdoors and paint a shaded lane. It sounds like so much fun, but when you go outdoors you have to not only pack your paints, but you have to pack your mind with some knowledge about perspective. The most important part about perspective, it seems like an awesome thing to learn about, is to realize that it describes the way we see things. And the factor that is most helpful is to realize that we have an end of our sight and a beginning of our sight. And then we have to make sure that everything we see from the end and the beginning is in sync. So it's very important to find the end of our sight, which is our eye level. Very important to just put your hand out at your eye and see what you see at your eye level. Then with almost peripheral vision, see what's happening to the things below that eye level and what's happening above the eye level. Sometimes we look up and paint it and look down and paint it and get it all, well, instead of painting a shaded lane going in the canvas, it goes up the canvas. Let's look at how the eye level helped me paint this picture of Central Park on a dreary, dreary winter day. This is done a long time ago. This must be below my eye level because you see this, the top of the step. You still see some of the top of the step here, but here you hardly see the top of the step. And so this is my eye level right in here. And my focal area was right about here. That's where I stood and looked straight on. And that became the focal point. Where you look becomes the focal point. You look at something and you focus on it, it's the focal point. And then that's what you should park first. Now, let's see where my focal point and my eye level is in this. This is from Central Park to Italy again. Sunny and warm and friendly. La Principessa, a place we stay. This this top is above my eye level because it's going down. And this is also, the gate is going down. And the road is going up here. So my eye level must be right about in here. And my point of focus was about here, and that's why this becomes the focal point. And it's parked not in the middle. Now, let's do a version of this Italian vista and move it to Rockport. We stroll down a shaded lane with our dogs a lot in Rockport, and I have adjusted my canvas already to be a picture of the shaded lane, and my eye level is going to be here. That's where it is. And so I'll make a line. That's my eye level. Notice how I've darkened the canvas to come forward, and I've darkened the canvas to come this way because things get lighter in the distance because of aerial perspective. We're walking down this lane, and it is where we're going, and so this goes this way. That's the road. And then all the trees go this way too. And all these trees are going to come up and get smaller and bigger until they're really big here. And so we have this little archway. And that's going to make us walk into it. Instead of just a tunnel, it's going to be a shaded lane. Let's see what I can do about it. My palette, and let's sketch. Let's sketch in a little bit more what's going on. So I already have a focal area, right in here. Now I have to make it more interesting, or it was more interesting, because I found as one day we walked through here that there was a break. There was a break in where the trees were, and this is where the sun was striking. And the sun was striking back in here. But this part was all shaded because of these trees. And it was shady where we were starting our walk. Violet where it's in light, and warm color, any yellow, orange, or red, where the sun strikes. This is the way I start a painting outdoors after I've decided what I'm doing, where my eye level is. I do a very, very quick underpainting. But instead of, I just do an underpainting, which is an adjustment of the big tone values, where I'm going to have it light and where I'm going to have it dark, so that I know where to aim the particular colors and where I'm going to spend my tonal time. Tonal time. I'm going to make sure that this all stays dark up in here. And I make sure that these large tonal masses make an interesting pattern, an interesting whole abstraction. And then, of course, I have a feeling of sky. There's always a battle in painting. I wonder if all of you are aware of the battle that you have all the time, the battle of time. And outdoors, that battle becomes a difficult one to cope with, because the lighting doesn't remain the same. The lighting changes constantly. So you can't paint all day. Got to paint in the morning or paint in the afternoon. And so this really begins my picture, because it gives me a vague plan of the entire scene, so that I can then come in and work more carefully and enjoy the day. Now I'm ready to add some definition to this vague start. I guess the start is the hardest part, to see it simply, because here, I mean, we're so emotionally involved with what we want to paint, and we see all these lovely things. We want to really start right in on them. Oh, I'm always reminded of my dear mom. When I said, "Oh, Mom, I don't know how to cook. What am I going to do?" She said, "Start on time and keep the flame low." Isn't that good advice? And so this is my start on time and keep the flame low. It just doesn't really say too much. Now I can walk into it with more detail. And it seems almost natural or practical to start with that which is furthest away and come forward, rather than try to slip everything behind it. So why don't I improve the sky first? Or actually add sky to this abstraction. I do see a bit of sky way, way, way off in the distance. Phthalo green and white. Very light, because that sky is so far away. That sky is also far away here, and far away here. Now, as I am aware of the sky, it gets bluer. And I'm apt to look for the color of the sky that I see above that tree and put it up here. rather than the actual sky that I see in my view. It's kind of squeezing the whole universe into my picture. Because if I'm standing here and I want to paint a picture of where I'm standing to where I'm looking, up here is what I see above me. So, and now I saw some green back there. Grayed though, that's too bright for back in there. And that's cutting in. And the sun hit the grass back there. Back there too. And the sun hit the pasture here. Now I feel as though I need all the trees so that I can leaferize them. Surely the trees in the distance are going to have thinner trunks, because perspective diminishes the size of things than the trees that get thicker in the foreground. Right out of the picture. I've seen so many people stop a tree here because they're intimidated by the edge of the canvas. Now that I have the trees, I can better find out where the sun peeks through them. Surely I want to maintain this to be part of the light area, and so this is going to get lightened, and then the light goes behind that tree. Let's go behind that tree too. And comes over and hits here, behind that tree, out here. But that tree has to cast a shadow, and so I have a nice green patch right in here. Now the road is a dirt road. Very often people will paint that dirt road brown because they know a dirt road is brown. And then the road looks like just a dark brown thing. But a dirt road can get very, very light if the sun is shining on it. So when you pack up your paint box to go outdoors painting, don't pack your preconceived ideas of what things look like. See them as they are, at your eye level and in their lighting condition of that particular day. That's why we look at paintings and are so charmed by them, because they recall an actual natural experience. Say, oh, I remember a day just like that. Well, now, if the sun is hitting across this lane, the sun should be hitting also the trunks of the trees. in places. Certainly there. If the sun hit there, it should certainly have traveled up that tree. And here. The foreground. There's something I'd like to also talk about in painting landscape. It's best if we are always accustomed that their world is dimensional, that we walk into it. So if you want people to walk into your landscape, you should have certain sections of distance, a foreground, a middle distance, and a distance, kind of very definitely defined to draw them into it. Very often a dark foreground is a nice introduction. And it's true that things that are close to us are darker because they're not influenced as much by atmosphere or aerial perspective. Also, colors become more their actual color as you are right near them. And so this road would become more road color than the violet that you would see in the distance. Let me step back before I start putting in all the leaves. In order to finish this picture, I have to go back and rely on the basic principles, which are ours because of nature, and the nature of nature, which is that it causes color and it causes contrast. I'm going to realize, or further have this canvas realize, that the light's coming from the left, shining this way. That means all these trees, this side of these trees, have to be more in shadow than these, because maybe the light can peek through these trees and hit some of this. So lots of people want to learn how to paint landscapes and want to learn how to paint still life and learn how to paint portraits. You don't learn subject matter, you learn painting. Painting is painting. You know? And all you have to do is study nature and study the characteristic of paint and get the two in sync, and then aim it to your area of interest. Let me go back and do that for you. And sap green with shadowized with red to start darkening. Wow. Do I need, if I make that dark, it's able to jump up to be this close. You see, always thinking of where, that's better. That's really better. Where my color is in relation to the beginning of my sight, that's where I'm standing, and the end of my sight. Picture's out of sight. This is a time I know some people take a little brush and put every little leaf. Instead of seeing masses, nice masses of caused by whole branches of leaves. Make a tree with a trunk, make masses of branches with big masses, and the end is the leaf. not the beginning. I'm sure you know we live in Rockport, Massachusetts, which is by the sea. And here I'm painting something that looks like, the country. Rockport is lovely in that it's very countrified, very pastoral. In fact, we have a farm right by the ocean where the cows graze. Since I come from a farm background, that's what intrigued me to move there, because it was farm-like. I got the ocean as a fringe benefit. I have to greenerize those trees a little bit over here, make a little pattern. And now let the sun peek through, come through here and hit some of these trees on this side. I'm sure you realize that I'm working from a sketch that I've already done, because I rarely work completely imaginatively. I mean, I feel as though then that picture just doesn't communicate because it's too imaginary. I like to recollect a past experience, thought or feeling that seeks some kind of pictorial presentation. And when I go outdoors, I hardly ever work even this big. I usually work on a 12 by 16, smaller, and use that as a sketch for maybe a larger picture. Finally got my thoughts together and made a mixture of a bright yellowish orange to help these trees. I'm messing around. Bigger doesn't mean better. And some across strokes makes it look as though the sun strikes. It's the way the sun is striking rather than the way the tree is going. But I do think that I have to fortify these trees with a little darker tone. Silly. I don't know what I was thinking about. Gotta think first. Oh, I don't have that shadow going across the lane. Oh, I don't have that shadow going across the lane. How come you people didn't tell me that? When I'm in front of people giving a painting demonstration, I get a lot of comments from the audience. They say, Helen, you don't have that cast shadow. I say, how come you're so particular about my picture? It's always easier to see it on someone else's picture because we're objective. I think I'm going to let a little light pass through it here. And I would love to paint right in here Herb and Flash, our black dog, and Joya, our other dog, walking. But since I'm always with them, I don't know what they look like from a distance. Let me step back. I can see that I need some sky holes, especially in here. And now you can see the sketch I worked from. And you can see how different this one is. What was the contributing factor? Time, of course. I did this so quickly, and this I did actually enjoying being there. The further you get away from being there, the vaguer it gets. And so I hope you've enjoyed our stroll down this lane, and next time I'm going to do clay pots or teach you how to make soup. Hello, I'm Helen Van Wyk, and welcome to my studio. But today we're going to go outdoors. Bigger doesn't mean better. I'm messing around. Silly. I don't know what I was thinking about. Gotta think first. Finally got my thoughts together and made a mixture of a bright